And welcome in live to the Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. A fantastic volleyball match on tap tonight. Hector Ledesma alongside our fabulous producer, Carl Schoening, without whom this broadcast would not be possible. Without him and SHN Sports Broadcasting and the broadcast courtesy of the fine folks over at SHN Sports. Now for Clark and for Reagan, a big match. It's a district match, unlike in past years when both squads were in different districts. This now a district matchup, and tonight it's a pretty pivotal one because for Reagan, one of the best teams in the area, 12-1 on the season. Clark 8-3, also like Reagan, a traditional power. Every one of their games this season has been a district contest. COVID and the pandemic and all the realities of it causing them to not have a preseason and play any games before they got going in district play. So District 28 6A, one of the better districts in not only San Antonio but in the area and in the region as well. So for Clark and Reagan, we've had the introductions of their starting lineups. We're set. Typical rules here, standard high school volleyball rules. 5-set match if it needs to go to that. So first to 3 wins. And for those just tuning in and for those who may not be big volleyball fans, as we mentioned, Reagan, one of the better teams in this area. And Clark, talking to Coach Melissa Miller beforehand coming into this broadcast, she said, you know, we know full well what Reagan's capable of. We just got to play our game, not make mistakes because they are going to score plenty of points on their own. And we're underway here with a serve from Reagan to start. Attack, Clark comes back. Nice set. And Reagan back on the attack. Over. And first point of the ball game goes to the Reagan Rattlers. You saw the serve there courtesy of number 19, Kirsten Davis. She's a junior, a big part of this Reagan team that, as we mentioned, traditionally and again this year is one of the best in the area. Davis with the serve. Clark plays. Davis up to set. And a kill there. Nice going for Julia Aleman. Came in from the outside and hit it right toward the middle there. No response to that one. And so we're off to a 2-0 ball game here with Reagan and Kirsten Davis still on the serve. See Clark at the net. And Reagan do a nice job of setting, getting it back over. Now it's Clark's turn to set. Blocked at the net as it comes back toward the Cougars and their first point of the ball game. Fantastic job there for Clark getting it going. Number 7, Caitlin Whitlock, a big player for them in keeping that ball alive, getting the little rally going, and then eventually leading to the point. Trinity Herrera now to serve for the Clark Cougars, who trail this one 2-1 in game 1, set 1 of tonight's match. And that one blocked at the net. A nice effort by Julia Aleman, but she's met by the Cougars there, and so Clark rebounding with 2 points after Reagan got off to a 2-0 start. So here we are knotted at 2 with Clark still on the serve. Herrera gets it over. Here comes Reagan. Set. Spike. Blocked at the net. And again, we said her name a little while ago for Clark. Number 7, Caitlin Whitlock, a strong presence at the net, doing a little bit of everything for the Clark Cougars in the early going. And they take a 3-2 lead. Reagan. Unforced error there for the Rattlers. Just out of the reach. A nice effort by Presley Yates. Try to keep that one in play. But it's Clark now with 4 straight points, who is off to a 4-2 lead. Reagan setting. Another big attack at the nets by Julia Aleman. But again, it's Clark there with the answer. The Cougars coming out with some fire there, especially at the net. Coach Melissa Miller telling us before the game that their size and their athleticism are probably their biggest strengths. We're seeing it here in the early going, a 5-2 lead for Clark. Again, a set for Reagan. And that one will not be returned. They got it right where they wanted to. Julia Aleman. And then it was Presley Yates who was able to get that point for the Rattlers, as now Alyssa Manitsas goes back to serve for the Rattlers, who get their first point since they got out to a 2-0 lead, and so now it's a 5-3 game. Here comes Clark with the set, and that one, that's a point. Julia. Well, you see Elise McGee. You're probably going to hear a lot of number 14, Elise McGee's name throughout the night. She is a Baylor commit for Clark. By the way, Clark in the black unis, Reagan the green jerseys with the white sleeves, as is traditionally the colors for both squads. And another block at the net by McGee, the Baylor commit. Reagan doing a fantastic job of keeping it alive, though. Manitsas, a nice dig on that end. But this one, a point for Clark. I'll say that one went out. Coach Rachel Torvik with some words with the questions and some words for the officials there. A little bit of a conference here as Coach Torvik looking for, don't know if she's so much looking for an answer or asking a question, so much she's letting her opinion be known here as to how the officiating gone, and particularly that play was called. And so Clark now serving with a 7-3 lead. It is Caitlin Whitlock back to serve for the Cougars. Manitsas bumps. There's a set for Reagan. And Presley Yates gets it across, that one long. And so Clark with an 8-3 lead. Now remember, this game got off to a start where Reagan scored the first 2 points. Clark has since scored 8 of the next 9 points. The lead is 5. Bump, set, kill, and give that one to the Rattlers. That one called in. And so the Rattlers regaining the serve there off their first point in a couple of points there to bring it to within 8-4. And it is Remy Vanderpool now back to serve for the Rattlers. She's a senior on this Rattler squad. Back to bump. There's the set. And, well, they're going to roll that a point for Clark. And so Clark now with a 9-4 advantage, as Ishmael Delgado will serve, but not before we have a timeout in the action. We're underway, set 1. Clark leads at 9-4, and they're serving. We're back right after this pause and play in a pivotal District 28 6A match between Clark and Reagan. Back here at Paul Taylor Fieldhouse, SHN broadcast between Clark and Reagan. There is Reagan getting it over. Here's Clark answering. They set it up. Play at the net. Fantastic dig there for Reagan, and they get it across. Clark now trying to get in a fantastic play all the way around for Reagan. It was Maddie Correa did a nice job of saving that one. Looked like that was going to fall in for a point, but Correa, fantastic dig. And so Reagan gets its 5th point of the ball game to make it a 9-5 ball game. And now back on the serve is Maribel Martinez. Clark sets and Clark scores. Well, that came with some power there. Kendall Harrington, a junior right side hitter. This Clark team, as you can, it might be a little tough to see from the camera vantage point, but they've got size. Whether it's Paige Fitzpatrick, who's one of their outside hitters, she's a senior, or Caitlin Whitlock, who's a sophomore outside hitter, Kendall Harrington, a right side hitter, Deanisty Smith, who's a middle blocker, Elise McGee, she's 6'4", or Trinity Herrera, a senior setter. They're big. They're big and they're athletic, and Coach Melissa Miller, their coach, saying that's one of their strengths this year. Again, out to an 8-3 start to the year. As we look at a rally going on, probably the longest of the game to this point, and it's Clark who capitalizes it. And we just mentioned her name, Harrington, Kendall Harrington, the junior right side hitter with that point. And so Clark out to an 11-5 lead. Boy, you got to figure this is the absolute kind of start that Melissa Muller envisioned and hoped for from her ball club, beating one of the better teams in the area in the early going, establishing play early. And with that, Reagan comes right back and answers. Nia Anderson. Nice job of, as they like to say, hit it where they aren't. So Nia gives Reagan its 6th point of the ball game. So this is now an 11-6 game as she is back to serve. Here comes Clark at the net, set nicely by Anderson. They set it, and there is Julia Aleman. Give her the point. So 2 straight for Reagan. This thing now 11-7, and again, it'll be Nia Anderson, the senior, who will start us off with this next serve. Give her another one. That one didn't come back across the net. So 11-8 on the ace by Anderson. And so just like that, Clark pacing, doing a nice job in the early going, but this is just a 3-point game here in set number 1 early on. Set at the net, and a big play at the net. Aaliyah Robertson, related to NBA former Wagner star here locally, and NBA product Andre Robertson of the Oklahoma City Thunder with the point there. Reagan trying to get it across. Low play at the net, comes back over, and here we reset. Bump. No, well, we're not going to reset. Clark goes to point. Point goes to Clark, I should say. Look, at maybe there was a little bit of a carry there toward the net. Unexpected bounce back right there, right in front. And so with a 13-8 lead, here's Clark to serve again. And they set it for Aleman. And here comes Clark, setting of their own. Nice dig there. Another bump. And now the bump goes over for Reagan. And here's Clark getting into their set. At the net, and a point for Clark off a nice page by Paige Fitzpatrick. And so the Cougars now out to a 14-8 lead here in set number 1 here from Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. Reagan and Clark, again, Clark in the black uniforms, Reagan green jerseys with the white sleeves. And a nice, beautifully set up for Reagan. And it was Aleman who absolutely did what she had to with that one. Kill right in the corner. No way that one was going to be returned. And so 14-9 our score now with Reagan returning to serve. Mary Correa back to do the honors for them as they trail this one by 5 in the early going. Set, and they get it across. Reagan going to keep this one going. The bump goes over. It's Herrera. And at the play, a block at the net. Combination of Aleman was there. It looked like Remy Vanderpool was there too, but I think the block credit will go to Aleman. A nice job at the net of making sure that that ball did not come over. So 14-10, the score following that Reagan point. Clark awake there on the attempted shot by Vanderpool. And again, it is Aleman. Julia Aleman putting her stamp on this game here, these last couple of points. It's now a 3-point game at 14-11, thanks to her kill on this last play. Again, this a District 28 6A match between two of the better teams in the district. If the playoffs started today, both these teams would be in. Reagan at 12-1 overall, 10-1 in district. Reagan 8-3. That's their overall record and their district mark. Not able to play preseason because of COVID. Officials say that one is out. And so a 4th straight point for Reagan off the errant kill attempt by Caitlin Whitlock. Correa again to serve. This game now a 2-point game at 14-12. Oh, at the net. Remy Vanderpool saw the opportunity and said, I'll take it. Thank you very much. And we're going to take time. 14-13, Reagan is roared back after Clark got out to a good start following Reagan having scored the first 2 points of this game. Let's step aside right here. It's a broadcast courtesy of SHN Sports. We're back right after this. All right, back here at Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. Quick break in the action. It is Clark and Reagan, and it is the Cougars who lead the Rattlers 14-13, but Reagan on a bit of a comeback. This game was 14-8 not too long ago as Maddie Correa gets set to serve for the Rattlers. Clark on the attack. That one blocked at the net. Another point for Reagan. Boy, that front line of Julia Aleman and Remy Vanderpool really changing this ball game. The last couple of points, they have been the difference, made all the difference in the world as Reagan has come back to tie this game now at 14. Correa still on the serve. And guess who? And guess what? Aleman, Vanderpool, block at the net. 15-14, Reagan. As Correa continues her streak and is still back there to serve. Oh, that one fell in. Perfect placement. Clark there tempted to, well, they were tempted and then they did let it go, but it fell in play, and so Reagan now 16-14 on the Correa ace. Oh, Clark going to try to keep this one in play, and it is bumped over. And here at the net, oh, a fantastic dig there by the libero, Ishmael Delgado. They get it across, and so now Reagan looking to answer, and so now Clark looking to set off the response. Here's Correa. And there's Aleman outside. Works for him again. They've done a nice job of freeing up Aleman there on the outside, and when she's gotten the opportunity, more often than not, she has delivered. Now a 3-point Reagan lead at 17-14. Right. Just a little tap by Aaliyah Robertson. And so Clark breaks the streak and ends the Reagan run. And so they get their first point of the game since it was 14-8. So now a 17-15 game. Reagan still on top. And here they come, Aleman. A little further away from there than she wanted to, and that one out of bounds just outside. But it's a point for Clark. And now it's a 17-16 ball game. Served by Paige Fitzpatrick. They set. Does Reagan for Katie Hill. She gets it over. Back comes Clark. Correa with the bump, the set, and there's Aleman again. (18-16) after yet another Aleman kill as Reagan looks to make some substitutions now into the ball game. Presley Yates and Kirsten Davis, who will now get things started here on the serve with Reagan up by 2. Clark sets, returns, and that point is theirs. The block attempt there goes awry, and so this is a 1-point ball game. With Trinity Herrera back to serve for the Clark Cougars. 18-17 here in set one of a District 28 6A matchup. Correa bumps. Here's a set. Aleman, other side from where she's doing most of her damage. That one returned. And give Clark the point. They eventually worked it over to Elise McGee and the senior middle blocker with the damage there. And I remember Elise McGee, the senior who was headed to Baylor, committed to the Bears, an Under Armour All-American. She stands 6'4". Here comes Reagan. And that nice job there, Remy Vanderpool, getting that one to stay in bounds. And so this has developed into a back and forth set one here. After it was a game of runs, it was Clark who scored the first couple. Then it was Reagan who scored the first couple. Clark then answered. Reagan came back, and now it's Clark who's kept pace since then. Off the Alyssa Manitza serve. She gets them going after the set, and a great attempt there at trying to keep that thing alive by Manitzas. Couldn't quite get there. Would have been a tough play. Was a tough play any way you cut it. And so with that point, Clark evens things up at 19. Caitlin Whitlock back to serve for the Cougars. There's Manitzas. They work it over. Fantastic job to Anaya Anderson to just trying to get it over the net. Here comes Clark with the answer. Does not get it over, though. That one hits the net, comes back on the Clark side. They weren't able to regroup after that. And so give the point to Reagan and give a 20-19 lead to Reagan. When these two teams met, they've only met one other time this season. September 26, it was Clark who fell in 3 straight games. So Reagan with a 3-0 win when these two teams met. And it was the 4th game of the season for Clark and an early season game for Reagan as well. Here comes Reagan to set. And it's Naya Anderson with the attempt. Goes out of bounds, though, or hits out of bounds. And so 20-20 our score here with Clark. Resuming the serve. It is Ishma Delgado, their libero, who hits it over. You see Reagan now setting an attempt there by Chichi Ozigbo, and that leads to a Reagan point after a short rally. So it's the Rattlers who regain the lead at 21-20 as Mariba Martinez now goes back and will serve with the Rattlers 4 points away from taking set number 1. Clark sets. They shed it from McGee. Here comes Reagan. The set. And they leave for Naya Anderson. And it's Clark who's able to thwart that attempt. And so the Cougars knot this thing up at 21 in a game that is going all the way down to the wire as each team tries to get to 25 and take that 1-0 lead. Serve is long. And so an unforced error, the type of thing that Melissa Miller said her team could not afford to do in a game like this against a team like Reagan, who now takes over the serve at 22-21 with Naya Anderson on the serve. Clark sets. Here's a set. Another set. Clark on the response. Yep. Nice attempt at the net. Reagan able to get a piece of it, but it goes out of bounds. And so the Reagan Rattlers and the Clark Cougars here tied at 22 in set number 1. Kendall Harrington with the serve. And here comes Aleman on the far side. Give her the point again. Doing most of her damage there from that side of the court. If you're facing the net there, she's on the left side of the Reagan set. And so she gives the Rattlers a 23-22 lead with Maddie Correa back to serve for the Rattlers. She went quite the run when she served a little bit earlier in this ball game. Aleman again, this time short. Into the net. Clark responds. 23 all now in a back and forth set 1. between two of the better teams in District 28 6A. Again, in Reagan's case, one of the better teams in the area. I believe the San Antonio Express News has them ranked either 2 or 3, depending on which poll you might be looking at. Clark looking to set. Caught off guard there a little bit with Robertson. But she's able to get it over. Reagan answers, and so here's Clark sitting again. They get it over. Correa. And they leave it for Remy Vanderpool, who does the damage. And so now Reagan at set point at 24-23. They get this one in, and they take a very hard-fought set 1. And it'll be Kirsten Davis who will attempt to give them set number 1. We'll step aside with a timeout in the action. 24-23, it's Reagan who leads Clark. We're right back here on SHN Productions. Back here, SHN Sports Productions. The fabulous Caro Schoening doing a fantastic job of producing. Hector Ledesma here for a game that's at set point in set number 1. Reagan serving for the set at 24-23. Kirsten Davis. Here comes Clark. At the net, they set for Robertson. That one kept alive, and Reagan doing a fantastic job of working that one back over the net. Robertson again, this time it's Whitlock. And this time again, it's this Correa who gets that one. Aleman, and that's your set. Aleman with the kill, as she's done so often throughout this first set. Ending the play, and in positive fashion for the Reagan Rattlers. They take set 1, 25-23. Went back and forth. Clark certainly didn't make it easy. And if that first set is any indication, we could be here for several sets. And remember, when these two got together, it was a 3 straight sweep. A 3 straight set sweep, I should say. Try saying that 3 straight times, alliteration there, for the Reagan Rattlers. And so with about 2.5 minutes to go until we get to set 2, let's step aside. 28-6A, volleyball action. Clark, Reagan, the Rattlers, out to a 1-0 set lead. We're back right after this from right here at Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. Welcome back to Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. Clark and Reagan live here on SHN Sports. Carl Schoening, our producer tonight. Calling Carl a producer, though, doesn't do it justice. I think Carl does just about everything, including running the company. So, set the stage here, recap where we are. We've played one set, and it's Clark who won it, or Reagan who won it, I should say, behind a strong effort from Clark, a strong battle from Clark. They're 25-23 in a set that Reagan got out to by scoring the first couple of points. Clark then roared back, and at one point it was 8-4, and then it was 14-8 in favor of the Cougars at another point before the Rattlers then rallied back. It was then back and forth until Reagan was able to get the final 2 points of the set for the 25-23 set one win. So that point going to Reagan here. Now, if you haven't caught much volleyball here during the pandemic, they're not switching sides. So if you're wondering, wait a minute, why is Reagan still on the same side? No switching. Part of the protocols put in because of COVID. Alyssa Manitzis on the serve for the Rattlers. And there's McGee with a strong effort. It does go out of bounds, though. It looked pretty, but just didn't get the results the Cougars are looking for. So now a 2-0 lead for Reagan, as Manitzis now continues to serve, with her Rattlers having scored the first 2 points of this set number 2. McGee leaves. There's Correa setting beautifully on the back end there for Naya Anderson. Anderson, a big part of what the Rattlers were able to do when they stormed back there in set 1. And so she gives Reagan a 3-0 lead. So this not unlike the start to the first set and the ball game, into which Reagan scored the first couple of points. It was 2-0 before Clark got on the board. Here it's 3-0 with Reagan still serving, specifically Alyssa Manitzis. Clark a little bit out of rhythm there on their set, but they do get it over. Manitzis bumping, setting. Anderson again. This time try to put some touch on it. Clark able to corral it and send it back over. And that shot at the net by Katie Hill hits the net, comes up short, and so Clark gets its first point of set number 2, now at 3-1 with Whitlock, Caitlin Whitlock, back to serve for the Cougars. Oh, and there was Mermy Vanderpool making her presence known again. Now, if you remember, if you were with us in set 1, it was Vanderpool and Julia Aleman who really formed a devastating front line punch there for Reagan. And it's Vanderpool picking up where she left off there with a big point to make it 4-1, and she's now at serve. McGee at the net. Here's Anderson responding for Reagan, goes long though. Look for a second there like the Cougars maybe might have touched it. They didn't though, and so the ball goes out, and Clark gets the point with their libero Ishma Delgado on the serve. 4-2 our score here in set number 2. Reagan out in front. Anderson, some touch to get it over. Here's Clark setting, and they do so for Kendall Harrington, who hits it wide, and so that point goes to Reagan, who's got some subs coming into the ball game. Maribel Martinez in, as is Chichi Ozigbo. And it's Martinez who's going to start us off here with the serve. McGee at the net. Fantastic dig by Manitzis. Clark now looking to make it happen. Correa. And now the set. And now at the net with the touch is Anderson. Ozigbo got it over. Clark then answered before Anderson was able to put just the right amount of feel on that. And so Reagan now out to a 6-2 lead here in set number 2. And so Martinez remains on the serve. There's McGee. That one's long. You could see it from the woman in her left hand. You could tell that was more than likely going to be long. and the Reagan defenders. And Reagan back on defense knew it as well. 7-2, this one playing out from the start differently than the first one did. Let's step aside. The Rattlers lead the Cougars 7-2 in a game in which they won already set one. We're back right after this. We welcome you back to Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. Reagan out to a 7-2 lead. Scored the last couple of points of this set. And it's Marima Martinez who's been on the serve and continues to be so, with her Rattlers out now to a 5-point lead here in set number 2. They won set number 1, 25-23. Just in case you're just joining us there. McGee again, middle. That one returned. Strong play at the net by Reagan. And there's Manitzis again with the dig. They get it over to Anderson, and that's probably not going to be returned. It's not. But you can see Reagan finding their groove. You can see that this is the Reagan Rattler team that I think we've seen most of the season. Reason they're out to a 12-1 record, including 10-1 in district, regarded as one of the best in not only the area but the region. But you can see got the entire game working right now. At the net, back on the back line, putting the ball down with authority. And there's another nice dig. And they get it over, and again, it's Anderson. That play started with Maribel Martinez there, kind of putting that one in play and giving her teammates a chance to do something with it. And so Reagan out to a 9-2 lead here in set number 2. There comes Clark. They do not set for McGee this time. Instead, they go to Paige Fitzpatrick. Reagan now setting. And Ozigbo Chichi was at the net. That one, though, not quite able to get back over. And so it's 9-3. And Clark resumes the serve. And there is Ozigbo. That one a bit long. So a second straight point for the Clark Cougars. They're looking to make something happen here, falling behind in set number 2, 9-2. Brooke Crowell now serving for the Clark Cougars. Crowell, Manitzis, and here comes Anderson. Point. Beautifully placed. And again, a nice job of Reagan developing its set and then executing it to the tune right now of a 10-4 lead for the Rattlers, as now Anderson takes her spot to serve. Clark sets, and Aaliyah Robertson doing a nice job of placing it there for Clark. And so give them the point. 10-5, the Reagan lead. Now this is a Clark team that lost 9 seniors off of last year's team. 9 seniors. 4 of their players weren't even on varsity last year. Hanging tough in set 1 so far, trying to see if they can get back in this thing in set 2. Right now down 10-5. Correa keeps that one alive, and Ozigbo gets it over for Reagan. Fantastic job at the net. Oh, they tried to make another play there. Almost came up with it. Martinez not quite able to keep that one in play. Tough play, though. Outstretched effort, but it goes out of bounds. And so Clark with another point now to make it 10-6. The Cougars are behind. Lily Andrews starting that serve for Clark, but it's going to go right back to Reagan. A point there for the Rattlers. So now 11-6, and they're perfectly happy at this point to trade points out to 11-6 lead. That's what we've got the last couple of plays here. The sequence that's seen both teams each score a point and trade off serves. It is now Correa. Back to serve for the Rattlers. Reagan sets. Looked like it would be Robertson. Instead it was Fitzpatrick, or Whitlock I should say. Whitlock not quite able to get that one over, and so Clark now falls behind 12-6 as number 12, Kylie Garrett, a senior outside hitter, enters the game for the Cougars. Correa still on the serve for the Reagan Rattlers. That one hits the net. You can give Correa that one. When she's been at service, the Rattlers have been at their best in this ball game so far. Oh, there's Ozigbo with authority for Reagan. That one wasn't coming back. 13-7 after that kill. And the Rattlers back now. Now back in service. It's a Reagan team that's coming off a win against Madison. Their last outing. Beat the Mavericks 3-1. Before that, they beat MacArthur in straight sets at 3-0. Just 2 of their 12 wins on the season so far. Nice little rally, a couple of nice returns here on both sides as Correa now sets. And here's Julia Aleman at the net. That one blocked. Deanasty Smith right there in the middle, making sure that one did not come back across. And so for one of the few times there when Aleman was on that side, it does not produce points for Clark. So it's, or for Reagan, I should say. So it's Clark who now serves down 13-8. And Trinity Herrera back to serve for the Cougars. They set. There's the kill. Nope, out of bounds. Katie Hill at the net. That one, though, going wide, and so it's 13-9 as Herrera stays on service for the Clark Cougars. Aleman. That one gets over and does not come back. Aleman doing it from the other side now as Alyssa Menezes gets set to make her return. 14-9. She now gets set to serve. Her Rattlers up by 5, trying to close in on a 2-0 lead in this District 28 6A showdown. Clark sets for McGee. Correa digs. And Anderson at the net for Reagan. Clark with the answer to get it over. Correa setting. Anderson again, this time. Oh. Hit back by Clark and then into the nets. Nice effort there by Ishmael Delgado to keep that one alive. That ball coming straight at her. She was able to bump set it and keep the play alive. But it did not get back over the net, and so Clark on the short have another point, and it's Reagan who leads at 15-9. At the net, strong play there by Deanasty Smith. And so the point goes to Clark at 15-10 as Reagan unable to handle that point on that play. And so it's Caitlin Whitlock who now serve for the Clark Cougars, trying to come back from a 15-10 deficit. Anderson blocked at the net. Reagan unable to get that one back over. So we remind you that Reagan in the green jerseys with the white sleeves, Clark in your black jerseys with that silver trim on the jersey. Boy, nice job there of putting just the right touch on that serve, but Reagan does get it over. Anderson able to tap it across. And now we've got a little bit of a rally going. They set. And there on the other end is Katie Hill. Katie Hill able to get the point in for Reagan. And so now 16-11, the Rattlers now moving in and within 9 points of capturing game 2 after winning set 1, 25-23. It is Remy Vanderpool who will get things started with the serve here. at the net with authority. Clark answering Kendall Harrington. She's a junior right side hitter. Doing a nice job of playing with presence at the net. And so their libero, Ishma Delgado, now back to serve. Reagan sets, Reagan answers. That one at play at the block, but a fantastic job of Hill getting that one over. Hill again, this time with the bump. Garea was going to set. Instead, it's Anderson on either side. And now it's Clark's turn to respond. And that one goes off of Hill's hands. And so Clark with the rally here, 13-16. The Cougars with the last couple of points in this ball game to tighten this thing up and bring them within 3 points. Again, it's Delgado on the serve. Oh, that one of those unforced errors that Coach Melissa Miller said her team cannot have. 17-13 as Reagan comes back with Maribel Martinez. Back to serve and start us off. Her Rattlers up 17-13. A little strong back play there. Correa setting it. Eventually gets to Anderson. Back comes Clark. Across. Ooh, strong play there by Martinez. Sets things in motion. It's Anderson who gets it over. Here comes Clark. They set, and again it's Anderson, this time with the bump. Set. Ozigbo on the other end. That one just long. Nice rally, but it ends up in points for Clark, or a point for Clark, I should say. 17-14, our tally now. The Cougars hanging around. They are hanging around after they battled fiercely, and it was neck and neck for the better part of, especially toward the end of set one. They are not going away and making their presence known here, getting back within 3 in set number 2. Whistle in the action there, and that one. Oh, they'll give that point to, looks Reagan. So Reagan now at 18-14. And it is Anderson. Naya there. She's a senior. Looking to, I was going to say, looking to give her team a couple more points, maybe some breathing room, but that serve hits the net, and so it's 18-15 here. Clark will go back on the serve. Down by 3. Reagan setting. Strong play at the net, Julia Aleman. Well, she is also she is just about always automatic when they put her on that side. Have her come in from that outside spot. It is tough to defend what she's going to throw at him. Correa with the serve in a 19-15 game that Reagan leads. Oh, and another unforced error. Clark, some confusion there, not able to get that across. So now it's 20-15. Correa back to continue to serve, continuing to serve, I should say. Set for Clark. Robertson over, but it's met there by Ozigbo. Clark trying to get it back. They do get it back. Aleman at the net. Nice job, Robertson. There, she was there trying to get toward the beginning of that play. Got that one over, and then ended that play with the block at the net. 20-16. Clark on the serve. Here comes Reagan. Ozigbo at the net. There's Aleman. Nice dig for Clark. Here comes Robertson. Fantastic dig by Maribel Martinez for Reagan. Correa hits it over. And here comes oh, that was a nice kill attempt there by Deanesty Smith, but it was met by Reagan. And so the Rattlers give them another point. Now 4 away from putting set number 2 away, 21-16. Kirsten Davis to serve for the Rattlers. Well, it was Kylie Garrett there. A nice job of getting that one over for Clark. Leads to the point. So 21-17, they bring Elise McGee back in. She's a senior middle blocker who's committed to Baylor. They look to see if they've got one more rally in them here at 21-17 in set number 2. Trinity Herrera start things off with the serve, and there comes Reagan. Boy. Julia Aleman leaving no doubt about that one. Right down the line. I think she caught everybody, including the Clark, set off guard. And so Alyssa Manitas now back to serve with her Rattlers up 22-17. There's McGee at the net. Anderson with a nice effort hits the net, comes back on her side, and so it's Clark who gets the point. And now 22-18 as the Cougars try to rally their way back and see if they can even this match up at 1 set apiece. Caitlin Whitlock on the serve for the Cougars. Set for Reagan. There's Anderson at the net. There's Anderson with the kill. There's Anderson with the point. 23-18 now. Reagan up. With Remy Vanderpool set to serve. We've got a substitution in, and so Presley Yates into the game for the Rattlers. 2 points away from taking a 2-0 lead. Clark, McGee at the net, 24-18. So set point for Reagan, and it's Brenna Hoffman who will try to start things off, as Reagan had an opportunity there to end this set, but that one played back over well by Clark, goes out of bounds on the Reagan side, and so the Cougars fighting back at 24-19, still set point. And their libero, Ishma Delgado, back to serve for the Cougars. That's your match. That's your set, I should say. Set number 2, a fantastic job, Katie Hill, of playing that one, and she had just enough power to get that one past that first wave of defense for Clark and then keep it in play at the same time. So with that, a 25-19 set 2, meaning Reagan now moves within 1 set of winning this match in 3 straight. Let's take a break here. Step aside. SH Ed Sports producing this broadcast. It is a 28-6A showdown. Clark, no sets. Reagan 2. We're back after this pause in broadcast. And we welcome you back inside Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. It may be windy outside here in South Texas, a little chilly. At last check, I think it was like in the 40s, but perfectly fine conditions in here, especially for the Reagan Rattlers, who are now within a set of moving on to their 13th win and improving to 13-1. Do a fantastic job of getting this one over and then getting the point there for Clark. Now Anderson kind of said, oops, hot potato, I'll hit this one over. And it landed right where the Cougars weren't, and so Reagan starts off this set like it ended the last set with the point, a 1-0 lead, and still obviously now on the serve. Kirsten Davis with the service. Clark now gets it back. Maddie Correa sets. Davis with the set after the bump. And it's Aleman with a nice shot that came back over, but it eventually does not get back over from once it made its way onto that Clark side. And so Reagan with another point and out to a 2-0 lead here in set number 3 of a game in which they won the first 2 sets. Davis again, ready for the serve. Clark gathers, able to get this one back across. Davis sets. Nice little bump over by Remy Vanderpool. And now it looks like it's Reagan with a strong presence at the net and on that back line too. Everything coming back from the Reagan Rattler perspective. Again, it's Anderson. Well, it's Clark who gets the point there. So the Cougars get on the board for their first point of this third set. Drop set 2, 25-19. That's after they drop set 1, 25-23. It's Destiny Herrera who serves for the Rattlers. There's Julia Aleman for Reagan. Oh, a little too close to the net there for Kirsten Davis. One of those balls that's tough to play. It kind of hits the lower part of the net and just kind of tends to just fall straight down. Tough to kind of do anything with that when you're on that same side of the net. We're knotted up at 2. Now Clark goes up 3-2, and that shot goes wide for Reagan. Herrera, who you see serving, is a senior setter for this Clark team. Again, the Cougars at 8-3, not only on the season but 8-3 in district play as well. That's right there, right behind Reagan and Brandeis for the top 2 spots in the districts. McGee, big kill for her. Elise McGee. The senior middle blocker, she's 6'4", so if she looks taller than anybody else from this vantage point, she is 6'4", and as I mentioned a couple of times, a commit to Baylor University. Anderson back with the bump, and they set up Aleman, who hits it over. It goes off Ismael Delgado's hands, and so it's Reagan who breaks the string of 4 unanswered points. Now 4-3 with Alyssa Manitzas back to serve for the Rattlers. McGee, that one out. A little too strong. And so courtesy of having scored the last 2 points, Reagan now evens this thing up at 4. Clark plays back the Manitzas serve. Reagan's turn now as they bump it over Anderson. That one just gets over the net. A little love there from the top of the net. And it's McGee who is able to put the Rattlers in a tough spot, get it just inside that middle spot that Anderson and Kirsten Davis had both moved over. McGee, recognizing that, was able to hit it to where that open spot there in the middle that opened up momentarily because they were both in generally the same spot. What an answer. Katie Hill at the net. Katie Hill with the kill. Hey, it rhymes. Hill with the kill. We're even at 5. Promise I won't try to rhyme anymore. Between Clark and Reagan. It's a District 28 6A battle. With Remy Vanderpool now serving for the Rattlers. McGee at the net. Nice touch. She's showing you the power. Showing you the touch there as well. Big advantage for her there at the net. She gives her Clark Cougars now a 6-5 lead. And it's Ishma Delgado now up to serve for the Cougars. Manitzis with the bump, but the Rattlers unable to gather themselves and get that ball over, and so now it's 7-5. Clark with the advantage. Nia Anderson there, kind of touching it there toward the middle. They set, and on the other end there's Hill. Fantastic job there of digging by Delgado, and it leads to another Clark point. 8-5, 3 straight runoff by the Cougars after the Rattlers tied it at 5. Well, there's Correa with the bump. Oh, they set it for Anderson, who had that one hit right back. McGee there at the net, kind of tapping it over. And so Clark now 4 straight points after the Rattlers were unable to gather that one and send it back over. 9-5, the lead for the Cougars. They need this set here to stay alive, already having lost the first 2. Correa bumps. They leave for Anderson. Another point for Clark. That was McGee again, wreaking all kinds of havoc there on that front line. 10-5, our count here in set number 3. Oh boy, miscommunication there for Reagan. They want to talk it over. 11-5, Clark out to a good lead and a must win. Let's step aside. District 28 6A battle. 11-5, the Clark Cougars lead. We're back right after this. All right, welcome back to Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. The Clark Cougars on quite the run. They scored the last 6 points of this game to take an 11-5 lead in set number 3. It's a set they need, having lost the last 2, the first 2, if this match is to continue on. And there's McGee again, causing all sorts of trouble at the net. That block giving her team a 12-5 lead. Reagan looking to gather itself here. Now remember, set 1 kind of went on this kind of trajectory. After Reagan scored the first couple, it was Clark who roared back, and that kill by Katie Hill is ruled out. So now it's a 13-5 lead for Clark. Serving this entire time has been Ishma Delgado, the libero for Clark. Gets a nice dig there. McGee again at the net, gets that one over. Anderson answers. Julia Aleman there. A nice dig there by Correa. Manitzis now having to hit it over. Does just that. And it's McGee at the net, blocks. Nia Anderson with a fantastic play at the net. Presley Yates right there with her. But it's a big stop by Anderson. And a much needed point for Reagan, who now trails this thing 13-6 with Maribel Martinez on the serve for the Rattlers. McGee. Whoa. Coach Melissa Miller with Clark asking for a second opinion on that one. Well, she was asking for a ruling on that one. They do say it was out, and so Reagan stays with the point, and then Martinez with the point right after that off the serve. So 13-8. Clark running off 3 straight points. After this one was 13-5 now, so it's 13-8. After some confusion there or some clarification that was asked for by Clark coach Melissa Miller, Reagan able to get another point right after that. McGee at the net, blocked. It's Anderson. Correa needs to hit it over. She does. So now Clark sets at the net. There's Anderson with the bump. They set for Ozigbo. Gets it over. And here's McGee at the net. Correa bumps, sets. Ozigbo again. Clark now looking to get this one over. They do. Fantastic diving hit by Maribel Martinez, and that one just out. Just long on the return for Reagan. So it's point to Clark, one of 14 in this set for him, and a 6-point lead here in set number 3. Brooke Crowley started things off with the serve, and now Clark trying to get this one back over. At the net, it is Presley Yates with a strong play for Reagan as Julia Aleman now set the check back in for the Rattlers, who cut this lead to 14-9. And Aleman coming in place of Alyssa Manitsas. Nia Anderson with the serve. Clark sets. There's Robertson. Nice touch. That one falling just inside of the line there. And so Clark with a 15-9 lead. Her 7th kill of the ball game. Here's Reagan. Aleman skying for the kill. Hit back over. There's Ozigbo. Give her the points. And that cuts to 15-10. Chichi Ozigbo, she's just a sophomore, so a bright future ahead for her and for this Rattler program. Coming up with a couple of big plays. One of several sophomores on this ball club. Alyssa Manitsas, also a sophomore for Reagan. They're good and they're young. Maddie Correa with the serve. And now Clark in some kind of a way, and that one way out. One of those unforced errors kind of got away from him. And so now Reagan, let's see if this is the beginning of a rally, now down 15-11. And they got Maddie Correa, who we mentioned before. A lot of positive things have happened whenever she's been back to serve for the Rattlers. Clark gets it over. Back and forth we go, a little of a rally as the Rattlers set. And there's Aleman on that far side. Returned, Aleman again. That one also returned. And I think Reagan looking to set. There's Nia Anderson, middle of the court. And back and forth we go. Another dig, Correa. Now the Rattlers get it over. Back and forth we'd go. And doing a nice job is Martinez of getting that one over. Oh, and that one went just long. It was close. It was close, but they're going to give the point to Reagan as Maddie Correa retains serve after maybe the funnest rally of the match to this point. Anderson with the dig. Ozigbo at the net. Martinez to Correa. Another block at the net for Clark, and Reagan ends up with the point. Clark ends up with the point. 16-12, the Cougars, after another furious rally. This time they come up on the right end of it, though. Anderson, Martinez, Aleman. That one to Clark. So Clark up 17-12. Now they've moved within 8 points of winning their first set of the match. There's Aleman. Martinez back to Aleman. Blocked at the net. They got Robertson and they got Smith there. And it's Reagan who's unable to get it back. Matty Correa doing a nice job there. Nice effort of trying to get to that one, but it's an 18-12 lead for the Clark Cougars. Oh, that serve just hits the net. It came up short. And so now 18-13 the count as Reagan goes back on the serve. It's going to be Kirsten Davis who'll get things started for them. Clark setting it for Caitlin Whitlock. And that one just falling in, so 19-13. Clark with another point as they look to inch closer to their first set win of this game. And it's a set win that would extend to set number 4 with the Reagan Rattlers having won the first 2 sets. Trinity Herrera. Back to serve for Clark. Correa. Bumps as Reagan gets back over. McGee at the net. It's Correa now who bumps. The bump set for Julia Aleman, and that one goes wide. So it's 20-13 now in favor of the Cougars after Aleman's one of the few times that her attack from that left side of the net did not result in a positive play for the Rattlers. Herrera again back to serve for the Cougars. Anderson, nice play there near the middle of the court. Clark doing an even better job of returning it. Here's Reagan on the attack. McGee. Nothing Reagan could do about that one. 21-13 now. Clark up by 8 in set number 3. That combination of McGee, Deanasty Smith, and Aaliyah Robinson really doing some damage there for Clark. Caitlin Whitlock up there as well for Clark through the better part of this set number 3. McGee at the net. Reagan able to get a piece of it and control it. Aleman gets it over. They're going to say Aleman. Nope, illegal touch. So now 22-13. Herrera still on the serve for the Cougars. Aleman. Strong play at the net. Clark gathering, and that ball is long. So the Cougars, with having lost the first 2 sets of this game, looking to extend. Meanwhile, Alyssa Benitez in for Reagan. Serving here. Clark sets. McGee at the net, and that one falls through. Erin Jones unable there to quite get to it, and so the sophomore, valiant effort, but not able to get it across. 23-14 the score. Clark now within 2 points of extending this to a set number 4. Anderson. They set for Jones, and the Jones kill attempt goes long. 24-14 now. Clark at set point. And they got Caitlin Whitlock here trying to close this set out. Anderson with the bump. There she is with the set, and that'll do it. Set number 3 goes the way of Clark, 25-14. A Clark victory in the set to extend this to a set number 4. So with that, we'll be right back. It is the Reagan Rattlers who fall in set number 3 but still lead the match 2-1. We're back right here on SHN Sports right after this. All right, welcome back to Paul Taylor Fieldhouse for the 4th set between Reagan and Clark. The Rattlers rather not be here in terms of they had won the first 2 sets, but this is District 28 6A where there is a list of several good teams and programs in the area, and so Clark not going away easily. They lost set 1 25-23, lost set 2 25-19, but roared back in set 3 25-14. Now Reagan, one of the best teams in the area, trying to put them away here in set number 4. Rally, McGee, fantastic dig by Correa. Back to Nia Anderson, and Clark set to return. McGee with a touch. Again, Correa all over the place. Ozigbo with the fantastic touch off the Correa dig, and it's Reagan who gets the first point of set number 4. Hear fans saying great hustle, great hustle. That's a great way to put it. Correa was all over the place on that hustle on consecutive plays for Maddie to lead to that point. McGee at the net. McGee short. Not in terms of stature. She's 6'4". Short in terms of the shot. Hit the net and came back. So Rattlers 2-0 lead to start set number 4. And they got Nia Anderson back to serve. And that one is long. And so the unforced error gives Clark its first service of set number 4. The Reagan Rattlers leading it 2-1. That's also the tally for the match. 2-1 at this point. Aleman bumps, gets the set back. Heavy kill, but it's brought back and answered. Clark another answer, then a block at the net. ends up on the Clark side of things in terms of physically on the Clark side of the court, meaning it's Reagan who gets the point. So the Rattlers now up 3-1. Maddie Correa. Clark looking to get this thing going back, but the ego touch there for the Cougars. So now Reagan out to a 4-1 lead as Correa goes back to continue her service. McGee again at the net. An attempt at a dig there for Anderson before Ozigbo then started chasing after it. Does not go back over though. Ends up going awry, and so it's Clark who gets its second point of this set number 4. Delgado on the service for Clark. Reagan sets for Aleman. That one comes back over, but out of bounds. And so Reagan regains control of the serve. Up 5-2. And now Kirsten Davis ready to get the Rattlers started with the serve. Clark, a little trouble. They're getting into their set. They do get it over. And so Reagan, they set for Aleman. Leaves it for Clark. McGee now able to get it over. And a fantastic job there of Katie Hill trying to get that one over. And we've got a nice little rally underway. Aleman with the touch with the left hand. And that one falls in. And it's Reagan who now leads it 6-2. Kirsten Davis back to serve for the Rattlers. They've got Nia Anderson on the court. They've also got Maddie Correa. Up front, as Clark now struggles to get it over, they got Presley Yates, and they got that young lady right there who just attempted to get her over the net, Rami Vanderpool. Along them, they've got Julia Aleman. As Clark gets the benefit of that point and cuts this lead in half at 6-3. Correa. Set. Aleman comes out firing, and Aleman gets that point. Her 17th kill of the ball game, and it goes to show just how active Julia Aleman has been as she now takes a seat on that Reagan bench. Alyssa Benitez serving for Reagan, and that one hit wide on the return for Clark as Reagan extends its lead to 8-3. And Clark wants to talk it over. Let's take a break as well. We're in set number 4. The Reagan Rattlers trying to close this match out, lead it 2-1. They lead set 4, 8-3 over Clark. All right, back at Paul Taylor Fieldhouse, Alyssa Benitez on the serve for a Reagan squad that leads this set 8-3 after having won 2 of the first 3 sets. So if they can go on to victory in this set, they would put away the match. Clark gets it over. Fantastic job by Kirsten Davis of getting this one over, and then Davis gets it over to a point where Clark cannot return. 9-3. The lead for Reagan. Benitez, Alyssa, the younger sister of Nadia Benitez, who also started here at Reagan, and is now continuing her volleyball career at St. Mary's University. Not in action right now, though, because of the pandemic. St. Mary's and the remainder of the Lone Star Conference, or the Southland Conference, or the Lone Star Conference, not playing right now because of COVID-19 precautions. But Alyssa there at St. Mary's, excited about continuing her volleyball career. Back to the action here. It is Reagan and the other Manitzis, Alyssa, who gets it over. Clark with the counter before Reagan able to hit it back, and it's Remy Vanderpool who said enough of that. I'm just going to put it where they're not. The 10th point of the set for Reagan. And out to a 10-4 lead as Vanderpool goes back to serve for the Rattlers. Back and forth action and block at the net. Aaliyah Robertson. There was some authority. And so it is Clark who now gets his 5th point of the set. Cuts this lead in half at 10-5. J.C. Dady in to serve for Clark. Nice job of Reagan getting it over. Presley Yates. And then it's Katie Hill trying to get this point for Reagan. Back and forth action. Bodies flying all over the place. Fitzpatrick tried to get it over, but a nice block by Hill. Although officials are going to say that I think Hill went over. I think Hill went across the net. And so Clark resumes the serve here. They lead it 10-6. They trail it, I should say, 10-6. Reagan trying to put this set 4 away to see if they can maybe close out the match. Another big block at the net for Clark. It ends up on the other end for Yates. Yates gets it across. Here's Clark to set. Fitzpatrick at the net. Fitzpatrick with the point. Off the kill, the kill that ended up bouncing off of Reagan. And so now this game, the set a 7-10 score as Clark continues to serve, and it's Dady again who gets it over. Fitzpatrick. It's a dig by Manitzis. They work it over. Back comes Clark. Again, Manitzis. And they set it for Yates. There's Clark. Robertson blocked at the net. Fitzpatrick keeps it alive. And Fitzpatrick will get it over. Manitzis there to answer. Work it for Yates. Does Reagan. Rates again. Now it's Anderson. Gets it over. Fun rally going on here between these two. And it's Katie Hill who ends the rally. Nice shot, catching the Cougars back line off guard. And so 11-7 now our score after Reagan. That's a nice job of working through that rally and eventually getting that point with Maribel Martinez now back to serve on their ends. Rattlers 12-1 on the season, 10-1 in district play. Part of a season they hope includes a long playoff run. More often than not, they have been, and not just this year, but through the years, on the right side of many big matches that involved area teams, as they now lead this one 12-7 against a Clark team that's young, but has been very competitive for the better part of the year. Clark with a tough time, and couldn't get it over in the 3 shots they had there, so it's 13-7. So when these two teams met, we talked earlier about how Reagan was one of the 3 losses that Clark had. Clark's 3 losses are to 2 of the best teams in the area. Once to Reagan, twice to Brandeis. Not bad. They've beaten everybody else on their schedule. Robertson looking to try to get this one over, and it's Katie Hill who does get it over for Reagan. That one off Clark, so another point for the Rattlers. They now lead at 14-7. And the Clark coach, Melissa Miller, saying before this ball game that this is a measuring stick game for this is one of those, obviously you play to win, but you also play type games like these against opponents you respect to see where you are. And so this is a measuring stick for Clark, while for Reagan, it's a chance, as Clark gets the point there, for Reagan it's a chance to improve their standing as we check to see on Ozigbo to see if she's okay. She looks to be okay, as Chichi will stay in there. For Reagan, as we were saying, it's an opportunity for them to continue to prove that they are one of the better teams in the areas. We now Carfer, okay, now Reagan now adjusting there at set with Clark, specifically Trinity Hideta serving for the Cougars. Anderson hits it over for Reagan. Fitzpatrick for Clark, comes back over, and that one just out of bounds. Point to Clark. And just to finish the thought on what a game like this or a match like this means for Reagan is just further cementing that they are one of the better programs. Again, Clark 8-3 coming in, not a louse, and a second win over a team that would be 8-4 after this match. If this score holds, would be another feather in the hat for a Reagan program that hopes to make a long playoff run. McGee with the kill there, landed just inside, and so Clark battling back, not going away, just like they haven't gone away in set 1 or set 2, and just like they rallied in set 3, they are not going away. It's now a 14-10 count in set number 4 with Trinity Herrera still on the serve for the Cougars. Correa with the bump. Didn't go where she wanted it to, and so now another point for Clark as Herrera is on quite a bit of a roll for the Cougars. And we've got a timeout. Let's take it with them. A little step away from the action here. 14-11 Reagan leads in set 4 over the Clark Cougars. Back here at Paul Taylor Fieldhouse, Reagan and Clark, it's the Rattlers who lead at 14-11, but the Cougars on the run here in terms of closing this gap to 14-11 here in set number 4 of a District 28 6A showdown. Anderson, big way to respond out of that timeout. Nia Anderson with a nice kill there. It's her 8th of the game on the near side here to stop the bleeding. If you want to call it bleeding, stop the mini run for Clark and extend to a 15-11 Reagan lead. McGee, Anderson answers. They set for Aleman. And I think, yep, they're going to give that point to Reagan. They're going to say it touched. Well, the one official didn't see a Clark player make contact. The head official saying, yes, it did. It hit, and so the point to Reagan. So that's his official. That's his ruling. Is now Clark confers and questions the final call.
Don't let him talk you out of it, ref. Let's go, Rattlers!
Well, yep. Staying with his ruling. Official saying that did hit a Clark player on the way out, and so now it's Reagan 16-11 after that disputed point. Anderson. McGee on the other end. Anderson with the dig. There's a bump. The set for Aleman. That one comes back over, and that point ruled in favor of Clark. I think the official saying that hit Reagan on the way out. And so now consecutive points in which each team is unhappy with the ruling. That might mean maybe the official's doing something right. Both teams are mad at you. Maybe you're on the right track. 16-12 our count now with Clark resuming the serve. Anderson with the bump. There's a set. Ozigbo. Nice kill there. Right in the middle. Her 6th of the game. Right there in the middle where there was no Clark defenders. And so Reagan now up 17-12 and 8 points away from getting to 25 and ending this match in 4 sets. Maddie Correa to serve for the Rattlers. Well, Clark on the attack and strong opportunity for Deanasty Smith. The moment that one left her palm, her fist, you had a sense that one was not coming back. 17-13 now as Clark goes on the serve. Isma Delgado starting things off. That one back on the Reagan side, and now it's Aleman who has to play it over. She does. McGee blocked at the net. Huge block by Remy Vanderpool. Remy Vanderpool with a fantastic stop on what was an Elise McGee kill coming right at her. And so it's Reagan who now takes an 18-13 lead. Presley Yates back in the game for Reagan. Kirsten Davis back to serve for the Rattlers. Clark sets. There's McGee. Answered by Davis. Aleman on the other end. Officials say that one was just wide. Just wide, just long, just outside that corner. Missed it by just a little bit. 18-14. The score after Clark gets that point. Brooke Crow on the serve for the Cougars. There's Anderson with the bump. They set for Aleman. No doubt about that one. That one well within the line. Aleman putting it right where she had to. She exits as Alyssa Menitsis now comes in. And the Rattlers up 19-14. The Rattlers with Presley Yates, Nia Anderson, and it looks to be Katie Hill there up front. Check that, Remy Vanderpool up front on that front line. It's Yates who hits it over, and the Rattlers who get the point after the Cougars cannot return, so it's 20-14 Reagan. On the backside there, along with Menitsis, who's serving right now, the Rattlers have Kirsten Davis and Maddie Correa controlling things there in the back. Another break in the action. Let's step aside with them. 20-14. Reagan leads it over the Clark Cougars. District 28 6A action. We got a good one between two good teams. We're back on SHN Sports right after this. All right, back at Ball Taylor. Reagan leading 20-14. Alyssa Menitsis serving to try to extend that lead. Clark sets. They do get it over. Maddie Correa with the bump. They set for Anderson. Little touch over. There's Whitlock for Clark. And now it's Anderson again for Reagan with the answer. That one's in. Beautifully placed inside that corner. And so the Reagan Rattlers now 4 points away from putting this game away and improving to 13-1 on the season, 11-1 in district play. Manitas responsible here in service for the last several points for the Rattlers. Delgado, the libero, setting that one up before Kendall Harrington came in for the kill for the Cougars to cut that lead to 21-15. We talked about Kendall Harrington a little earlier, along with Deanna C. Smith, and Trinity Herrera, Caitlin Whitlock, Paige Fitzpatrick. They kind of do it by committee after Elise McGee in terms of how effective they are in attacking the nets. Anderson after the beautifully paced bump by Manitas. And boy, just some confusion on the Clark side after Reagan, and led by Manitas, did a fantastic job of getting that one over. Manitas setting it beautifully there for Anderson to get it over. And so 22-15, Reagan now 3 points away from putting this ball game away. Remy Vanderpool serves. Clark sets. There's Robertson at the net, and that's a point for the Clark Cougars. Aaliyah doing a nice job there of getting that one over. In case you weren't with us earlier in the broadcast, Aaliyah, the younger sister of Oklahoma City Thunder forward Andre Robertson. Of course, Andre, part of a great Wagner basketball team here in the San Antonio area that went to the state's Final Four, a couple of them, in fact. Jordan Clarkson, another current NBA player, Robertson's teammate on that Wagner team. Anderson, back to the action here. Nice block on the Clark end, but it's the Reagan Rattlers who, once it came to on their end, were not able to get it over. And so it's 22-17. That Reagan lead cut to 5 by Clark. Harrington on the serve for the Cougars. Anderson and Manitas, some miscommunication, but they do get it back over on the return. And Clark not able to get that one back. Got caught in the net. 23-17 Reagan as they inch closer to getting that fourth set win and ultimately victory. Maribel Martinez will look to get the final 2 points here for Reagan and close this thing out. Bump, set, Robertson, give it to Clark. Got it over. Reagan unable to answer, so now 23-18 as Elise McGee comes back in for Clark. The Cougars trying to make another push to extend this past 4 games. Down 2-1. They lost game 1, 25-23. Lost game 2, 25-19. Won set 3, 25-14. And now Reagan leads set number 4, 23-18. Correa sets Martinez. There's Anderson at the net. Comes back over. Manitas has to get it across. She does. Herrera to McGee. Fantastic dig by Manitas, but it goes out of bounds. Gotta love the effort there by Alyssa Manitas, but it ends up as a point for Clark. So now 23-19 on the scoreboard as the Cougars trying to see if they can mount one more rally. Correa, Martinez, Ozigbo, point for Reagan. And that point means we are at match point. 24-19, one more for Reagan, and we say goodnight. And it'll be Nia Anderson who gets to try to put it away for the Rattlers. Been so big for her program through the last couple of years. And tonight, 9 kills tonight for Anderson. There's McGee. Speaking of kills, big one for her. Her 15th of the night, and it brings the score to 24-20. With now Kaylin Whitlock back to serve for the Cougars. There's Ozigbo. They'll try to get it over, and that's it. They set it beautifully for her, got her in her spot, right where she wanted to be, hit it over, and that is all she wrote. Set 4 goes to Reagan, meaning the match goes to Reagan. 25-23, 25-19, 25-14 is on the losing side of set number 3 before they were to come out victorious in set number 4, holding off Clark with a 25-20 count in set number 4. All right, so Clark falls to 8-4 on the season. All of those games coming in district play. Reagan improves to 13-1 on the season, now 11-1 in district play. For our fabulous producer, Carl Schoening, I am Hector Desma, thanking our fantastic partners who've made this entire broadcast possible. SHN Sports for not only putting this broadcast on, but so many quality broadcasts throughout the area and in Central Texas as well. We say goodnight from Paul Taylor Fieldhouse on a night that saw the Reagan Rattlers come out victorious and again improve to 13-1. Good night, and we will see you next week. We're thinking Friday for the next ball game when Reagan tries to move an inch that much closer to what they hope is going to be a long playoff run and a fantastic way to end the season. For Carl, I'm Hector. Good night, everyone. Stay warm.